Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel for your Chelsea news for the day. We've got 3 stories today, all of which are pretty big. We're going to talk the last story, Allan Saint-Maximin, who for me, I'm very glad that Chelsea are being linked with this player. We're going to talk Neymar and PSG wanting to sell him out of the blue. And we're going to begin by talking about Chelsea's interest in Liverpool's Michael Edwards. Now you're probably wondering, Michael Edwards, he's never kicked a ball before. Correct. This is off the field stuff. This is sporting technical director employment opportunities that have come up at Chelsea Football Club. And we want to go and raid the man who has made the big deals for Liverpool. The great, brilliant transfer business that has enabled Jurgen Klopp's dynasty to have the seeds planted and start to be sown. Chelsea want a slice of this cake. Before we get into anything though, I do want to ask you to subscribe to the George Benson football channel. I am sunburnt McGavin today. A little bit too much sun in the last few days. I'm very, very tanned indeed, but my face stings. Hit the like button if you also enjoy this video and you like the daily updates right now in the Chelsea news community. So, Liverpool transfer guru Michael Edwards, who bought Van Dijk, Salah and Mane to Anfield, this is reported by the Mail Online. Chelsea are interested in approaching Michael Edwards to become the next sporting director at Chelsea Football Club. Now then, would he want to come to Chelsea? There is competition also from Manchester United. I just hope that this is something that Michael Edwards would actually be like, you know what? I think a little stint in London could actually be up my street. The greatest thing about this is that when we look at Liverpool's success under Jurgen Klopp, many argue, myself included, that Jurgen Klopp might well be the best manager in the world. I have a little bias towards Thomas Tuchel, but there's absolutely no denying that Jurgen Klopp is a very special manager. However, he's a very special manager because not only does he have a philosophy and vision that he has implemented into Liverpool Football Club, but there is also Michael Edwards at Liverpool that has made Liverpool's transfer business, although they've made a couple of fluffy signings, I'm going to use the word, they've also made some incredibly astute business when it comes to value for money, precursoring players leaving, such as Sadio Mane, and not bringing in Luis Diaz now, but bringing in Luis Diaz in January. As much as Liverpool might have needed a Diaz in January to compete for the Premier League title, to chase down Man City, to get to a Champions League final and win 2 domestic trophies, Diaz played a huge part in that. There's also a massive part of me that understands what Liverpool are doing, and with a strategy or a strategist who is working behind the scenes to make sure that Liverpool's business is conducted as swiftly, quickly and efficiently financially as it possibly can, is Michael Edwards doing. So when Chelsea are being linked with this guy, in my head, this is arguably more exciting than any kind of link we could have to any player, because with someone like Michael Edwards, Chelsea know from Todd Boehly's initial statements about how he sees the club developing, how he sees the club growing, we are going to be using data. We're going to be using statistics and analysis to further improve Chelsea's scouting mechanism, which has not been the greatest. We quite often go for big names, splash big money, and then wave goodbye. I said I wasn't going to mention his name again, but you all know who I'm talking about here. Instead of just going for big names, when Todd Boehly is backing the manager, Thomas Tuchel, who's already won us a Champions League and 2 other trophies as well, as amongst other finals. When you're backing the manager, and Chelsea do have one of the best managers in the world, I believe that absolutely, just 100%. When you've got that, and then if you were to add in a Michael Edwards, who has got such a brilliant transfer track record at Liverpool, then you really start to see the cogs turning here. And for me, this kind of appointment, if we are to get him, if he's to leave Liverpool, go to Manchester United, if Michael Edwards was to become the new sporting director at Chelsea, I think we could really be in for a treat. Liverpool have been so smart. They don't have the same financial capacity and muscle of Manchester City, but with Jurgen Klopp there, they've not only backed the manager, but with this kind of guy behind Jurgen Klopp, when Klopp says he wants this player, Liverpool behind the scenes are then working to try and find the perfect fit for that philosophy, for that system. And I think if he was to come to Chelsea, I really do think we'd be laughing. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments down below. This is an exclusive apparently from the Mail Online, so we'll see how this one develops, but this is a good sign. I'm liking these early stages of waving goodbye to Mr. Man, Romelu, and then Todd Boehly starting to get the wheels in motion, as the phrase goes. We move into story number 2. Neymar. PSG had offered Neymar out of the club this summer. He's 30 years old. He signed for 196 million. It is a mind-boggling number, but it was 5 years ago now, and PSG are reportedly ready to accept the right offer for Neymar this summer. He's 30 years old. Neymar is a marquee name. He is a statement player, where Todd Boehly might be looking at Declan Rice and West Ham might be not budging on that ridiculous fee. And I do believe, and I've said this many times during the course of this early summer, I do think that despite the slow start to Chelsea's transfer window, I think a marquee name is something that Todd Boehly will have on the tip of his tongue, on the ready to sign on the dotted line. And if Neymar's available, I read a couple of reports that he'd been offered on loan to Barcelona, or an offer within the region of 50 million euros. Now, we're talking 10 more than that, 15 more than that for Rafinha and Sterling. Yes, Rafinha's 25, Sterling is 27, but Neymar is not only still a wonderful player, he's not, I wouldn't say over the years he's been my favourite player. A lot of the simulation and some of the dirty stuff he does, because he's played for two teams I really don't like, Barcelona and PSG. That's kind of been hard for me to deal with, but we're not just talking here about a superstar, we're talking about a player who has the ability to take players on, has the ability to pull the rabbit out of the hat, similar to a man who goes by the name of Eden Hazard, who we all hold so dearly in our Chelsea brains and our Chelsea hearts. Neymar, it's a risky one because the wages would be astronomical. It would turn the structure of the wages at Chelsea Football Club upside down. There is also the potential that it could disrupt the apple cart a little bit. There's a lot of other players in similar positions, and Neymar certainly wouldn't be a man to come in and play under Tuchel in some kind of rotational system. That is not going to be the case. If Neymar comes, he is the star boy. He is the marquee superstar. And I think if the fee is something relatively reasonable to the 50 million euros that is being reported, I would love to see Neymar at Chelsea. I really, really would. At the moment, Chelsea are not one of the ones heavily linked. But Barcelona have got so many issues. They want Bernardo, they want everybody. And they've got financial struggles. I don't see him going to Real Madrid. I'd struggle to see here where Neymar could possibly go. I don't see him doing a Newcastle. I really, really don't. We're going to talk about Newcastle in a minute. I don't see him going to City. If Neymar's going to leave, I'd like to see Chelsea in the hat. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments down below. Slightly under the Neymar grid in terms of like whoa kind of names, but certainly not away from Neymar in any sense in terms of the excitement. Allan Saint-Maximin from Newcastle United. There are rumours that Chelsea might be interested in making a £40 million bid. Newcastle deem this one to be too low. We know that Newcastle are not really the club right now, desperate for money because, well, they've got more than anybody else. However, Allan Saint-Maximin, I've watched a lot of this guy. I don't always watch every Premier League game now the way that I used to because I live the other side of the world. So it's not always easy for me to be up 7 days a week at 3 a.m. to watch everything. But Allan Saint-Maximin is a player who gets you off of your seat. He was playing last season in a Newcastle team that for more than half the season were absolute relegation fodder. One of the worst teams in the league. Eddie Howe comes in, revolutionises the club, starts to get the best out of various other members of the squad to make the cogs turn, and then we still see the brilliance of Allan Saint-Maximin, a player who loves to take players on, a player who isn't afraid of a challenge, a personality that is absolutely, what's the right word? It's infectious. When you see this guy, when you see him off the pitch, you cannot help but like him. And Chelsea are reportedly interested in him. And when a name like Chelsea comes into the hat, despite the Newcastle project, Saint-Maximin's head has reportedly been turned. Now, this is often a phrase used in reality TV shows, my head's been turned. But I really think that when we're talking around 40 million, let's say Newcastle, maybe look further towards 50, even if we're talking 60, I really think this guy is even less of a gamble than a Sterling or a Richarlison. and even maybe a Neymar because of the age difference. Neymar's 30 years old. But Allan Saint-Maximin, I would absolutely love this guy at Chelsea. He reminds me in a way of Eden Hazard, a name we've now brought up twice again in the same video. It's funny how we talk about big name players, exciting, explosive players, and he's always the name that comes off the tip of my tongue. But let me know your thoughts on this in the comments down below. Still very little to report regarding this one, but if it develops, we will discuss it a lot more here on GBFC. Thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe if you are new. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this. Gonna go put some after sun on. I'll see you guys later. Come on, you Blues.